computer science geeks. I'm going to review some good testing techniques that you could use in TextExcel. So the thing is that as you get better and better and you start to do more and more commands, I, the teacher, and the world in general are not going to hand everything to you on a silver platter. That means the tests that you need to do to make sure your code works is something that you have to figure out on your own. So how can you do this? Well, let's start with something simple, okay? So if you were to start your TextExcel, and let's say that it's mostly working, you're not sure if it's working right or not, and you print, you can see that here I have it just printing out. That's way big. Let me make it simpler, okay? So I'm going to say rows is equal to 4. I'm going to say columns is equal to 4. I'm going to make it 4 by 4, and I'm going to keep the width the same. So now if I print, okay, here I get something that looks like this. Now if I say A1 is equal to 7, and then A2 is equal to 12, and then A3 is going to equal A1 plus A2. When I've done all that, we know that A3 should be the value what? It should be the value 19, correct? So if I print this, I get the value 19. That's awesome. Now if I make A1 is equal to 9, and I print again, or actually I'm just going to do, if I ask for the value of A3, what should it be? Okay, it's not going to be 19 still, right? The value is going to be A1 plus A2, which is going to be 9 plus 12 is going to be 21, right? It's going to be 21. So you may want to enter a bunch of commands to get your file or your end grid to look correctly, right? So if you've done a lot of work to enter a lot of things, so let's say I make B1 is equal to hi, and then I make B2 equals a very long string, okay, and then I'm going to make B3 is going to equal, I don't know, we'll just make it 21. And now I print, okay, did I make it 21 in the same? 21 is a magic number. Look at that, 21, 21. B3 is 21, A3 is 21, yep. Coincidence? I think not. All right, so there we go. Now, if you knew that this was the right answer, but you weren't getting it, and you just wanted to quickly type in all that stuff, it can get very tedious, right? But here's what you can do. You can save this as my tests.txt, okay? Now, do you see how it saved the file? This is a function you are supposed to write. And you've already written load. Now, if I clear my file, right, and then I print, you'll see that I'm empty again. Let's just make my rows equals to 1. And if I print, it's going to be a little thin. This is how it looks, right? But watch if I load my tests.txt and then I print again, I get that file, right? So you can save your work along the way, and then whenever you start your program, if you just end, right, and then you restart it, you can just do load my tests.txt, and you can see what happens. You can print it out, and you can see whether you got the right thing or not. Let's take a look at that file that we did, right? Load or my tests. That file looks like this. It starts with rows equals and width equals, and then it gives me the value of all of these in here, right? But it only gives me the end value in here. It didn't give me all the commands that I typed in completely, right? Notice here that I do capital letters and lowercase letters. Your code should work with both. Maybe it doesn't, and so you may have to make sure that you're at least consistent, okay, so that you work with that. If I wanted this to make sure that this worked, after I type in A3 here, let me check A2 to be 4, and then down here I say A2 is equal to 12. So now I know that should still be 21. I should still get the same result. If I save this file, and then I go back to my run, okay, and I run this thing, and I clear, and then I type load my tests.txt. It should still load correctly. When I print, I can see if I have 21 in both of my areas, and I do. It's very nice. So you can write a bunch of tests by just putting a bunch of commands into a file, mytest.txt, and then loading it into your grid, and then you do a print, and you see if it worked. Also, it may throw an exception along the way. Mine said it loaded successfully. So that's just a quick, easy way to run your tests. And you can just see if things work. You're not assigning point values. You're not doing the unit tests like I've given to you before, but that's okay. It's just a very quick way for you to run all your tests. You just put all your commands into a file and then you load it out. Pretty quick and pretty slick.